I'm going to start the recording now. And I'm going to show you this slide for the function of water. Any questions about the function of water that you see on the screen here? Okay. So just so you guys know, 50 to 70% of our body is made of water. And every time, I swear, every time I lecture on water, I feel thirsty when I'm doing it. But so think about how much you weigh, even in pounds, and at least half of that is water. So we have 60-pound person. So 80 pounds of them is simply water, which is why it's so important to drink it every day. The little myth that you may have heard when you were younger is that, you know, you could live days without food, but we can't say the same about water. We need that every single day. And you may be thinking to yourself, well, I don't drink a lot of water. I drink coffee, or I drink another beverage, or I don't drink a lot at all. How am I alive? There's water in food too. When we're eating our food, we're going to get water, and I'll show you a slide on that as well. So in addition to water, we also need electrolytes. And electrolytes are minerals that help with water balance. Now, this slide is going to help you with your discussion question this week. I don't think anybody did their discussion yet. I checked this morning. In the discussion question, it talks about how much water do we need and how much electrolytes do we need. So use this as a resource for when you're doing the discussion. Don't just copy and paste it. You know, put some of your own foods in there that you eat that provide that mineral. But there are, as you see here, I actually have six electrolytes listed. The first two hold water in the body. These are the ones that if we overdo it, we're going to feel bloated. The sodium and the chloride together, we will call that salt. And you know where you're getting your salt from. It's in a lot of packaged food, preserved food. It is a preservative. When we talk about fast food, we'll find out that there's a ton of salt in fast food, and it's put there as a preservative so the food doesn't spoil, so it doesn't get foodborne illness. And it is okay to have salt. The RDA, the recommended daily allowance for sodium, is 1,500 to 2,300 milligrams per day. If a person has any type of disease, is at risk of any type of disease, has a risk factor for a disease, or is obese, they should have 1,500 milligrams as the max. If they have absolutely no disease or risk factor for it and their normal weight, then the RDA could go up to 2,300 milligrams. So that's why there's an interval, okay? You may find a lot of nutritionists and doctors just saying do 1,500, just to be careful, because there's a lot of people in the US that are overweight or obese with risk factors. That being said, I don't want this to be zero. Then because sodium has a lot of functions in the human body, clearly it holds water. We need that. If we did not have salt and we drank water, as soon as it hit your stomach, you know, within a few more minutes, you would be urinating it out. We wouldn't be able to hold it and use it to help with elimination, to help lubricate the joints, to help form the blood. So the salt helps us hold that so we can use it for water's many functions, all right? Now the opposite electrolytes are the ones that expel water from the body, get rid of it, okay? And we need these just as much. And where we find the ones that really help us get rid of too much water, if we over drank water, is in fruits and vegetables, okay? And here you see even in some dairy products or meat. But it's in whole natural foods. And it's potassium, phosphorus, calcium, and magnesium. Okay. Let me see. I do hear, I should say.
Sorry, I'm writing in my notes. So you were saying the first two, so sodium and chloride withhold water and the other ones expel water?
Sodium and chloride hold it, H-O-L-D, hold it, keep it in the body. Yeah, they keep it in the body. And the other ones help get rid of it. So if we ate a healthy diet, you see all these foods are part of a healthy diet. we would have normal water balance. If we ate about this much sodium chloride, about this much potassium, phosphorus, calcium, magnesium, we would have an adequate water supply. We wouldn't have too much and we wouldn't have too little. Granted, we're also drinking water, so they have to work hand in hand. Was there another question, guys?
No, Anastasia made a comment.
Oh, could somebody read that to me so I don't have to switch the screen again? Shall we move on? So I do want you to kind of look at the RDA. You should pretty much memorize the sodium RDA, okay, guys? I have questions on this. I'm not sure if it's on the quiz. I forgot to review it. I could look at it later. But I know that there is a question on the final with that as well for sodium, okay? Then if you want to try to kind of memorize another one, just think potassium is pretty much double that. The 2300 doubled, okay? And that traditionally is found in lots of fruit and vegetables, the potassium. And I think everybody always says bananas, right? But it's also in potatoes. Every fruit and vegetable has it. Now, a couple scenarios, and think about this in your family and your own diet. If we are eating a lot of processed food, we will be getting a lot of this sodium, right? We're eating out, we're eating canned food, packaged food. And let's say the person is not eating a lot of fruit and vegetable. What's going to happen is they're keeping too much water. And we know that your blood is made up of water. And what ends up happening is there becomes too much blood. Excuse me. Yeah, well, I could actually say that. Too much water in the blood. And what happens is it increases blood pressure. It causes your blood pressure to go up. Because think of volume of blood, right? If we try to squeeze too much volume in an enclosed case, the pressure is going to keep going up. And that is how high salt diets contribute to high blood pressure. Now, I want you to think about how we could potentially minimize or eradicate high blood pressure with a diet. What could we tell people to try to lower their blood pressure without medication at first? What do you think you would tell them? So give me an example, and speak, because I can't see the chat room. So somebody tell me, or somebody put something in the chat, another person could tell me. What would you do if you had a family member with high blood pressure in terms of advice on their diet? What do you guys think?
Well, I know with my mom, I eliminated pickles from her refrigerator. She loves pickles, and I was showing her. Sometimes people aren't aware of how much like salt they eat, because she was thinking, oh, it's a low carb treat and it's a small pickle, but I'm like, it's almost 500 milligrams of sodium in that one little pickle.
Really? Yeah, that's quite a bit. I didn't realize it was that high myself.
Yeah, depending on what you get, like depending on the brand and what type. She likes those Famous Dave spicy and sweet ones, and they have corn syrup in it.
Yeah. So, I don't think people are aware of the balance that needs to happen. And for every food that we know is high in sodium, we could kind of counteract that by eating the ones that are high in the potassium and magnesium that help release the water from the body. And I bet some of you can say that you've had the same experience, but if I eat out, then like the next day I feel like my hands are swollen. I might have a little bit of a headache. And I feel kind of bloated. Does anybody feel that way sometimes when they eat out at a restaurant?
Yes, I do.
Or you ordered in with pizza. Like pizza, we wouldn't think, how in the heck do they get the salt in the pizza, right? But it's in the dough. Sometimes they put it in the sauce. It certainly is in meat if you get pepperoni or sausage on it. And so we are getting it in any restaurant food. And what we would do is then you could look on the left side of the screen, but there's other options, right? Um, for the potassium foods, we want to start eating that the next morning. And a good thing might be make yourself a huge smoothie with fruits and vegetables the next morning. And then hopefully by noon, you kind of feel better. If we eat in a way where we're eating out every day and we're not getting fruit and vegetable every day, it could become a chronic problem, which would lead to like high blood pressure. Now, there's other causes for high blood pressure. It's not just diet. And I say this a lot when I'm teaching you guys about disease. Every chronic disease has multiple reasons for occurring. Usually one of the reasons of many is a bad diet, a poorer diet. And so we could try diet modification first and see if that helps. And I do think in a lot of cases it would. But if the person has high blood pressure for other reasons, then the diet modification may not. It may improve it a little bit, but it may not eradicate it totally. All right, was there another question in the chat room? What I can say that this image actually makes me think too, how important just getting salt could also be. We don't want to eradicate it all. The sodium helps our brain function. It helps our heartbeat. We cannot get rid of all sodium. And this image of the sport drinks here makes me realize that if we are in hot, humid weather, if we are doing a lot of physical activity, it is important to replenish the salt. So that may be a time when we say, well, do a sport drink, or real hot and humid and you're drinking lots of water. Okay, maybe this is a time we can have a pickle. Or, I always say like, potentially like maybe a little snack, crackers or something with the salt in it. Or, they always say drink soup when you're sick. If you have a cold or flu, God forbid COVID, if we're sick, one of the old-fashioned remedies that our ancestors used to say is do chicken noodle soup. Well, what it had was water and salt. And so when we're dehydrated, we need both. So don't think salt is bad. We have to have it, but we have to have it at a correct RDA. All right. How much water should we drink? Lots of numbers to memorize. I don't like memorizing all this stuff. So what I say to myself is about 10 cups, and those are 8 ounces. Or you can say about 100 ounces. Or one other thing you can say is half your body weight in pounds. Whatever you weigh, have that, and that's how many ounces you could drink. So again, if we had, I like easy math, we had a 200-pound person, they should have about 100 ounces, okay? So we're focusing not only on the electrolytes, but also the water content. But it's important to know you could get your electrolytes in foods. We don't have to have supplements like these sport drinks. The supplements are good if you need the water and the electrolytes quick and you're not going to eat. Or they're good in a risky situation, like a person starts having heat exhaustion, then we would want that in quickly rather than have them sit down and have a meal, okay? Now, these are the minimum water per day. And yes, you have to drink it even on cold days. I think people forget in winter to drink water. We usually, if it's hot, we remember. But if we are, even in winter like today, we have to remember to drink water. And really, really important, if you're sick, you have to drink your water and electrolytes. That's why things like Pedialyte came out. When the little kids would get sick, they say, give them Pedialyte. It's got water and electrolytes. We say that we should say the same thing for adults. When the person gets sick, if they have a fever, it dehydrates them. If they have diarrhea or they're vomiting, it dehydrates them. So we have to have more water and potentially electrolytes if we're in any of these situations. Hot, humid, too much exercise, you're sick, you have a fever for whatever reason. Pregnant women will need a little bit more water because she's creating more water for the baby, but also obviously the weight of pregnant women gains, most of that is water. And then women during their menstrual cycle as well, probably add another cup or 2 per day. Where do we get our water from? Well, think to yourselves. Are you guys drinking about 9 to 13, 8 ounce per day? Or maybe you have a water bottle that's somewhere around 16 ounces. Are you drinking 4 or 5 of those a day? And if not, you can also get it from food. So you see, most fruit and vegetables, more than half of it is water. I'm snacking on some grapes while I was working this morning. Most of that is water with some fructose and fiber in it. Clearly watermelon, right? Lots of water in that. So we think of fruit really as water, fructose, and fiber. Okay. And then the vegetables have the water, the fiber, and some starch, which is the complex carbohydrates. And then here we have meat. Believe it or not, meat has water in it too. And then the nuts and seeds a little bit less. So here was a slide I put in here about how much water content is in these different produce.
I was just about to ask about, I see cucumber is at the top because I'm drinking cucumber, celery, and apple juice. I juice it often. But why is it that certain liquids like coffee and cucumber seem to like run through you a lot faster than water? Like they make you have to go to the bathroom quick.
Well, the coffee I know the answer to. The coffee has the drug caffeine in it, and that's a diuretic, which the diuretic drugs will cause you to lose water from the body. So when you do drink coffee with caffeine, or if you're drinking a soda with caffeine, or any beverage, even those, what do they call them? Energy drinks have caffeine. It's going to make you lose more water than you're actually taking in from that beverage. So I do tell people if they're drinking water, if they're drinking coffee, sip on a little water when you're done, because you don't want to become in a negative state from drinking the water. For instance, my dad, I argue all the time with my dad. I tell him, did you drink water today? And his response is, no, I had coffee. And then he'll drink coffee during the day. And then at night, he'll either have like a beer or a diet soda. So there's no water intake at all. And but he putting himself in a situation where he's chronically dehydrated then, because the coffee dehydrates you, and actually alcohol dehydrates you too. You probably know that, right? Alcohol is another diuretic drug. So you're drinking 8 beers, but you're losing water from 16. All right. If we're not replenishing the water. And that's one of the many reasons people wake up with hangovers after drinking alcohol. They're dehydrated. They've probably diluted the electrolytes in their body. And the alcohol kind of eats away at your stomach lining, which causes sometimes that nausea. And a lot of times people who are dehydrated will get a headache. So again, we'll talk about alcohol later, but I always advise people, if you're drinking alcohol, alternate it with a beverage like water that will rehydrate you. Okay. Good questions. I don't know about the cucumber though. To me, it shouldn't. But what could be happening is if you're eating a lot of fruit and vegetables, and you're actually putting in too much water, maybe the body's pushing some of that extra out so you don't keep too much. It could potentially be that, because I know when I eat a lot of watermelon, and I love watermelon, if I eat my watermelon in the summer, I feel like I have to, go to the bathroom more often. And it's not that we're getting dehydrated, it's that maybe we're putting in a little bit too much, and so our body's ridding that. All right, problems of dehydration. Here we go. And you can look over these things. I talked about headaches already. You're going to be tired. So sometimes when we wake up in the morning, we feel tired. And it could be you're dehydrated. My advice is, before you drink anything, as soon as you get up in the morning, have like 8 ounces of water. Just take a drink. You could also be tired in the morning because you didn't sleep enough. We're supposed to get about 8 hours. So that's a couple of things. But when we're dehydrated, we're going to be tired. We potentially could have a headache. And our metabolism is slower. So you're not burning as many calories as you should be. If your metabolism is 3,000 calories a day and you're dehydrated, you're only going to be burning like 2,800, all right, or less, depending on how dehydrated you are. So that could potentially put people a little extra overweight, put a couple extra pounds on the body because your metabolism is slow. All these fad diets, one of the first things they tell people to do, start drinking more water. And I've said that to people. Actually, I've told people who are not drinking water whatsoever, even if you don't change your diet, if you start drinking a bit more water, you could potentially lose weight. And that is if their sodium isn't too high. If we tell someone whose sodium is pretty high because they're eating out quite a bit, they drink the water, they'll hold it, and it'll actually make them way too much. All right. So we've got to try to get to an adequate amount. People have died of dehydration. Have you guys heard of any stories? They died of heat exhaustion, heat stroke. The people could get really sick and their fever spikes. They're not really dying necessarily from the fever, but they could get so dehydrated they could die from that. Have you heard of any situations like that, guys? No? Did you ever see anybody get heat exhaustion or heat stroke?
Yeah.
What was the situation? What was the situation that they had that?
I used to work at a summer camp.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the times when, kids are constantly outside but one of the counselors actually, while they were rushing the kids in to get the drink, she wasn't really focusing on herself and she kind of like not passed out, but like she had to sit down and she was really short of breath and she started sweating really bad and it was really like everything was kind of like anything that could go wrong went wrong.
Mm-hmm. Did the ambulance have to come?
We did end up having it just because like we gave her water and we were trying to cool her with ice, but we were a camp. We don't really have a medical, so we wanted to get her checked out, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they could. Those are some of the signs of the heat illness. Sometimes people actually vomit, which is really bad because they're losing more water then. But a lot of times they'll be confused. They might actually start feeling chilled, like they'll say, "Oh, I'm cold," and what's happening is the blood is going to cool the organs. It's kind of centralizing in the system to cool the organs, and it's not going to the skin, and so their skin feels chilled. But we should probably recognize the symptoms of heat illness because in summer in Chicago we have pretty rough weather, which is the complete polar opposite of what we're having today, right? But chills or confusion, passing out, things like that. We've got to get them cooled down. And I think, like you said, give them some water. If we had a beverage with electrolytes, like a sport drink, I like giving, if the person isn't too sick, maybe giving water, but also like maybe a snack, because sometimes they may have a snack with them, like crackers or chips or something with the salt in it. But that's only if they can eat. A lot of times, it's real serious when you have someone with heat illness. You give them something to drink and they throw it up. So clearly you don't want to put food in a person like that. And then maybe put them in the shade, put a fan on them, try to cool them off a bit. We talked about the diuretics and the drinks that cause them. Do know, though, that if the person is on any prescription drug, if they have if they're on protein supplements or protein powders, that could dehydrate them along with the caffeine and alcohol. Potentially some other drugs could do that as well. OTC is over-the-counter drugs. So what happens when we put drugs in? The body uses extra water to detox. So we're losing water when we're taking drugs in. So, another cup or two per day for people that are on prescription drugs or over-the-counter drug. And then it says, how to tell if you're dehydrated. I swear, when I do this lesson, I feel dehydrated the whole time. If you're thirsty, you're probably dehydrated. That's your first symptom. Then if you want to go through this, looking at your pee, the color of your pee. And it should be, I believe, number 1, 2, or 3 on this screen. If it's getting dark orange, you're probably dehydrated. If it is 7 or 8, I would probably tell the person to go to the hospital go to the doctor. 8 is really bad. That's like your kidneys aren't working. This test, though, really only works if you're not on drugs. If the person has taken some vitamin supplements, especially I think it's the B vitamins, it does discolor the urine, or if they're doing alcohol, that will change it. So it really only works when the person really isn't under the influence of any type of drug. But sometimes in the morning the people are dehydrated and they pee and they can see, oh wow, it's like 4 or 5. I better drink some water. All right, did somebody have a question or comment?
Yeah, I had a question. I was told while playing sports an easy way to like tell if you were dehydrated is that your saliva gets like foamier and it's not as like thin and liquidy. And
Oh,
so
that
that
would
like if you have like if you're like spitting bubbles or stuff like while like outside playing like baseball or like basketball, like that's a sign. Is that true?
Yeah, that would be probably pretty bad. You'd have to be really dehydrated to get to that point. I'd like you to catch it beforehand, before it gets that far. Sometimes your first symptoms are just kind of dizziness or confusion. And you may feel like a little tingling or chills on your skin. Those are usually the first symptoms. Catch it quick. If you or an athlete you're with starts to feel that way, a little dizzy, a little confused, a little chilled, have them sit down right away and drink some sport drink or water with a type of electrolyte, a little snack. Because a lot of people don't catch those first faint symptoms and they keep pushing through. And then what ends up happening is worse symptoms come on. They pass out. Maybe like you said, the saliva is thicker or foamier because there's just not enough water in the body. You get a severe headache. I coach baseball and softball for the last 30 years. I've seen a lot of people get into heat exhaustion, a couple heat stroke. Heat stroke, you're on the verge of death. Heat stroke, you've pretty much lost so much water that you can't even vomit or sweat anymore. I don't get to that point. When I see someone passed out, I see someone vomiting, and it's really hot out, we're calling the ambulance right away. Because we miss the first symptoms of real vague symptoms of confusion, chills, and we've got to those kind of moderate symptoms of vomiting, passing out, things like that. And then the worst of the worst is when they have no sweat, severe headache, and they can't even vomit anymore because there's no water left. That's heat stroke. Who has a comment or question? Anybody?
I just had a question. So how accurate is the urine test for the color?
It's only accurate. Yeah, it's really accurate if, like it says on here, be aware if you're taking vitamin supplements, the color could be different. So if you're on a lot of supplements, it may be inaccurate. If you're drinking a lot of alcohol, it may be inaccurate. If you're not on any prescription, if you're not on any over-the-counter supplements, it's pretty accurate. Yeah. And I can say for number 8 or even 7, if it gets that bad, you do need to go see a doctor. And number 8 to me would be like a medical emergency. Something's wrong. Something's wrong. If you're waking up, and I say this waking up because you probably went several hours without drinking. If you're waking up and you're getting 4s and 5s, you got to drink some water before it gets worse. Another comment or question? I would say the 2 biggest things that skew this is probably alcohol and B vitamin supplementation would skew these colors. Okay. Problems of too much. So what really, it says problems of too much water. What we're really talking about here is problems of not enough sodium. What happens if you drink too much? You're going to dilute the sodium electrolyte. And that sodium electrolyte, I told you, helps the brain cells, helps your brain, helps your heart. If we don't have enough sodium, you could die. So we encourage people when they're drinking to make sure they have a healthy diet with some source of sodium in it. The only people I've known that I've read about a lot of these more than seen are people that are kind of doing something against common sense. they're exercising really excessively in heat and humidity, and they're only drinking water with no electrolyte intake whatsoever. So if you're outside working, even cutting the lawn on a hot, humid day, and you're only taking in water and not sodium or electrolytes, you could potentially dilute the sodium so much from your body that it becomes a life-threatening emergency. We hear of this sometimes with marathon runners if they don't know any better. And that's why Gatorade was really developed. Gatorade was developed at the University of Florida. If you know sports, it's called the Florida Gators. That's the name of University of Florida sport team. And they called it Gator Aid. It's to help out the athletes when they were getting dehydrated from playing football. I think it was the athletic trainer, came up with a concoction of water, salt, sugar, and if they drank that, they felt better right away because we're replenishing the electrolytes and the sugar, right? We're giving them energy rather than just water. So that's how Gatorade became popular. Another comment or question?
Yeah, I actually dealt with hyponatremia for a while back from 2014 to 2017. It was an issue. Partly because of my medicine and my kidney disease, but also one of the medications I take gives me dry mouth. So I drink a lot of water.
Yeah.
But it was crazy because I didn't know I had it for a while. I would first it was my arm would twitch, and then when I would try to type or write, my fingers would twitch. And luckily the doctor kind of figured out what was going on, and my blood sodium level was like 129. And so he was like, yeah, you have it. And it really is dangerous, like, because that twitch is the beginning of like seizures.
Yeah.
It was really interesting.
What do you have to do to make sure that it doesn't come back?
So they had to decrease my diuretic. I've been on water pills since I was 13. And then he was saying once I have the twitch, have something salty. He was like, even if you just like gargle a little salt water and consume a little bit of that, he was like, you just need something quickly.
Yeah.
To boost it back up.
That's good that you know of it, that you know what's causing it at this point, so it doesn't become more serious.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Okay, now I'd like to hear about what you guys drink, okay, on an everyday basis. Think about that. I'm going to go through a couple of quick slides. I think just one slide here. Think about what you're drinking, and it could be on here. I omitted alcohol, guys. We can talk about that if need be, but from the research I've read, and I was a college student myself, they say about 80% of college students do drink alcohol, which we see high, but also know 20% don't. So there's still a big percentage of people, I believe, that are not drinking it. But we have a whole talk on alcohol as our last learning module in class. What are in these beverages? When you drink something or eat, I want you first to know what is in it. And then you can make an educated decision of, is this going to help my body or might it hurt my body? And again, even if you say, oh, today I'm going to have a root beer. Okay, I don't want you never to have your favorite beverage again. But we know, if we're educated, we'll know what we can have more of and what we, save as an occasional beverage. So know what's in it and then make that decision. In fact, our assignment is to read food labels and food ingredient lists for today. And I'm going to get to that in about 10 minutes or so, your assignment for Thursday. But read, even if you're in the house now, you could grab what you're drinking. I have something in my fridge, I'm getting it now, that I bought the other day. So I make this, I told you guys, I think I make this concoction. I heat my water up, so I have hot water. I put in it, I squeeze fresh lemon or lime. If I don't have fresh lemon or lime, I'll pour like a little orange juice in it. And today I bought something called, I don't even know, Healthy Roots Juice. I found it's pretty expensive. But I what I do is I don't drink the whole bottle. I'll pour like maybe a couple tablespoons in the cup of water just for flavoring. So I put my fruit juice in it. Then I will put raw honey and a slice of real ginger, and I drink that. And what I have going on here, number one, is the water is helpful. Lots of vitamin C from the juice. The honey is actually antibacterial, antifungal, so it's kind of like healthy preventative medicine before you even get sick. It also suppresses cough. If you do have a cold or know someone who has COVID, they could sip on any like fluid beverage with that raw honey, and it kind of suppresses the cough. It doesn't last long, maybe an hour or two, but maybe it'll help them feel better. And then that ginger actually is good for your belly, your stomach. So the things that I'm putting in are like proactive to help prevent diseases. And I drink at least one or two of those a day. Question or comment?
Oh, sorry about the noise. I just had a question. Are we gonna cover pre and probiotics?
I believe we are, and we could talk a bit about that even next time when we do food labels. When we cover digestion, which might be next week, we do talk about the pre and probiotics and how they potentially could help your gut health, the health of the bacteria in your intestines. So yes, we will.
Okay, that was a question I had for a while, and I keep forgetting to ask. And because I was drinking kombucha one class, and you were mentioning like ginger and the healing properties of ginger.
Yeah.
And like kombucha has some ginger and all those healing factors as well for your gut health. So I was just curious.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if you have it with you right now, but I can ask you or other students, if you have a beverage with you, what is in the ingredient list of that? Do you have any? And if not, like, I'm going to read mine real quick here.
I'll just check real fast, but you could go on.
Okay. I'm trying to see. Oh, so my juice that I bought, it just says ingredients: watermelon, pineapple, and lime. And so what I'll do is I'll splash this because I don't want too much, clearly it's got fructose in it. The whole bottle has 23 grams of carbs, 19 grams of sugar. So I'll just put a little splash for flavoring, and then, after about 2-3 days, I'll go through the whole bottle. Another comment or question? So here we
I
have.
just put in chat. Oh, sorry. You said to like name something on like the ingredient list, and so I said like I totally stopped soda probably like 2 years ago because I read up on like maltodextrin, and like also my nutritionist that I currently have told me about like chemicals to look out for. So I have like a short list that I remember, and like maltodextrin is like the top one, and so anything with that in there I automatically just like throw out and put it back.
What did they say that maltodextrin does?
It's got some like research that links it to causing cancer, but other than that, nothing really else. It's just a carcinogen apparently, so that's why I stopped.
Yeah. Well, that's good advice. Yeah, I wasn't too familiar with that one. Thank you for sharing that. I did hear a couple more clicks in the chat room. Did someone want to say something?
I was just saying that like I'm addicted to soda because he was saying that that's how he stopped, but I feel like I try, but I can never stop like cold turkey. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the caffeine. I know I like the fizz, but I love it so much.
Yeah, that is an issue because some of the things that we do is kind of becomes a habit, right? Becomes habit forming, and I think the carbonated water and the caffeine kind of keeps us coming back to a beverage like soda. And on these slides, what I'm showing you is actually what's in the fluid that you're drinking. And with soda, we have water, we have carbohydrate, which is typically pretty high, and usually it's high fructose corn syrup, which they claim is also addictive too. Pretty high percentage of carbs, above 11% of the beverage is sugar. And that's a lot. some acid, some carbonation, maybe caffeine, some flavors, some dyes. It's all artificial chemicals in these flavor and dyes. I've heard personally that the darker color sodas like Coke, Dr. Peppers, things like that, that there are carcinogens in that caramel coloring. It's not a natural coloring, it's chemicals. Who else had a comment while I show you this slide on the negative effects of soda? Did someone want to talk a bit?
I know Talia was just asking me, but I remember like when I was younger, because right now I try to control it a little bit better, but when I was younger, I was so bad with soda. Like if it was can wise, it would be like 5 cans a day. And
Ugh,
I went to the
yeah.
dentist because my teeth were feeling so sensitive, and he's like, you need to cut it out because your teeth are getting like really thin. And I was like, I can't, like I was crying, and he's like, you have to use a straw or something because it's really affecting your teeth.
Ooh, yeah, yeah. I can see that, that it made damage. You know, even one can a day increases our risk of these diseases that you see on here. And I think people don't realize that because the media and the marketing for these companies that sell the soda, really, there's lobbyists that will really try to suppress negative health information that is sent to the public. So just know that these companies, number one, their marketing strategies are great. They don't want you to know it's unhealthy. They lobby politicians to make laws that are preferable for the company rather than personal health. So this is a problem, and that's why education could sometimes combat that. What I can say is, uh, it's not that I never drink soda or I never give it to my kids. One thing I say to myself is I will never buy it to have in my house. If they go to a birthday party and they want one glass, I let them. Uh, I try to steer them towards the ones without caffeine, and I try to steer them towards the one that aren't colored. So I'll go with like 7 Up or Sprite. But it's a treat. And soda was developed as a kind of a dessert, a treat that you should have once in a while. It wasn't developed of something we should be drinking every day. But the marketing of these companies make it seem like this is normal, this is what people drink every day, and it's okay to do it, which is kind of it's kind of false information. So, if we don't know, and kids don't know, they don't know that. They know it would taste good. And so that habit starts forming. But if we know, these are all documented. I sent you a couple of research articles this morning. One was from Harvard, one was the National Institute of Health. The soda does cause liver damage. The one that came from Harvard talks about all of these things: obesity, diabetes. It causes actually cardiovascular disease, where people were drinking so much that they were having like cardiac arrests. And that is actually the energy drinks are actually worse than soda for symptoms like that. But there's been people who have died, and they examined their liver, or people that are alive and they have liver disease, and they're like, are you guys drinking alcohol? No, 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 no. Ended up, well, I drink many sodas a day, or many diet sodas a day. I mean, that's just as bad. They start with that fatty liver. And it could be one or more sodas per day. It's really scary. Diet soda is, to me, worse than regular. It's all it is chemicals and water. Is all you're drinking is chemicals and water with the diet. At least with a regular soda, you're getting, well, processed carbohydrates, because you're getting high fructose corn syrup, chemicals, and water. Another question?
Hi. I also heard that soda can interrupt your reproductive system. From one of my close friends at the time that I heard this.
Okay.
They were trying to have a baby, and then he cut out soda, mainly Mountain Dew, and they ended up being able to have a baby after that. And his doctor had said that Mountain Dew kind of like suppresses like your sperm reproduction and all that stuff.
Wow. See, I love that I can still learn from you guys too. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me, but I don't think I knew that before you said it. It doesn't surprise me one bit though. Thank you guys for sharing those stories. I think we can all learn from it, things like that. I was shocked when about this liver damage. Honestly, I found out about it when my mom got sick, and they said to her, "Do you drink alcohol because you have a sick liver?" My mother never, ever in her life drank alcohol, and I said, oh, "It's got to be that soda," because she would drink diet soda, and my dad does the same thing now. But people don't realize that up front. I think a lot of people think, well, you know, the number one thing that causes added sugar in Americans' diet is soda. I think they realize, yeah, it's probably associated with weight gain and obesity. And some people kind of think, yeah, maybe it'll increase my risk of diabetes. But the rest of these things, I don't think people kind of think about. Weak bones. Even kids who drink soda break more bones than those that don't drink soda. So this is kind of something that I really discourage, right? I let my kids have it on a rare occasion, right?
Yeah,
If we're on vacation or a party. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, as like from a thinking about my childhood, like it's really important also when the child becomes maybe 8, 9, or 10 to understand. It's good to
Yeah.
like explain why they're not having it, because like my kidney disease is genetic. So other people in my family had kidney issues. So there was a lot that was restricted or just eliminated from our diet because I lived with my entire family as a child, my grandparents as well. And so we never had soda. We were never able to eat pork. We were never able to have like milk. And there was a lot of other things that I didn't get introduced to until I became an adult. But no one ever told me why. So the minute I got my first apartment, I bought like a 12-pack of root beer, a whole gallon of like vitamin with like the worst milk, and what was it? Oh, and bacon. And I was so sick because I never
Really?
understood what they never told me like why we didn't have it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good advice is actually to educate. And we can start this education with the kids when they're in, I would even say preschool age, because like I said, I've taught kindergarten kids and they understand. They might not understand, right, what cirrhosis is, or they may not understand with metabolic syndrome. Like, we're not going to go into kindergarten and say, hey, you're going to get metabolic syndrome if you drink that. I mean, but you can say it's going to make your organs not work right. It's going to make your organs sicker, and do it. I always say do it as a rare occasion, right? This is one of those 20% of your food's not so healthy. 80% of the food should be healthy. But again, once in a while, probably not the worst thing in the world, but every day you're going to have increased risk for anything on here. So thanks for sharing about how educating kids on what they're drinking and eating, why some things are better than others, and then they'll make those choices for themselves, probably towards the healthier stuff, especially if they know they're not feeling well.
I like that about teaching the kids at a young age because I wish that my parents were strict with like my soda or because I feel
Mhm.
like they're more impressionable at a young age so that they're not like me where I'm like addicted supposedly now.
Mhm, mhm. And so we could kind of think of what would be a strategy to maybe kind of cut back. What could we do if we are drinking a lot of too much soda, too much alcohol, too much Hawaiian punch? What do you guys think we could do? Any advice? Go
Um,
ahead. I know that there's some people are either raising their hand or chatting.
what what I did, because I gave up soda. It's coming up 3 years now, and especially like if you're for the fizz, like if like that kind of people, sometimes it is just that addictive thing like that. The fizz, you're used to that if it's on a daily basis. I switched to seltzer waters
Mm-hmm.
as kind of because you can't just, especially when you're giving up soda, it's hard to just jump off the ledge. Like there has to be some sort of transition.
Yeah.
What I did is I switched to flavored drinks, like vitamin waters on screen. Like I switched to flavored drinks with less sugar and then seltzered waters to try and get that kind of similar.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a good idea. Hmm.
Do you think vitamin water is actually good or it's because I was drinking it the other day and someone told me because I'm trying right now, I'm in the process of trying to give it up, and someone told me that it's bad, that it's like Gatorade.
Well, the thing that I want you to do is read the ingredients because there's so many different kinds. Read the ingredients. If it's a natural ingredient, I'm getting my beverage back out. I put it back in the fridge. Where did I put it? Oh, there it is. You know, it could be different ingredients in different vitamin waters. Like mine, it just says watermelon, pineapple, lime. Literally, that's it. Nothing else. No sodium as a preservative. No words I can't pronounce, which typically are chemicals. So you've got to kind of read the labels, which we're going to do Thursday to help us learn. And that way you can see what is it. And if you don't know what it is, I would do one of two things. I would look that word up on the internet, figure out what it is, or just choose not to drink it. I do know like some people like the carbonated waters. LaCroix is the big brand now, or there's another one like kind of Bubble or something. Um, once in a while, again, I think it's fine. It's definitely better than soda. But read the ingredients, and then hopefully you can figure out what that is. And most vitamin water this is what's in it. But what we're worrying about is these flavorings might be chemicals. Somebody else had their hand up or a chat on the vitamin water.
Oh, I just put in chat that when I got off of soda, I used the Soda Stream, and then I drink tea for caffeine. So like the
Yeah.
Soda Stream is just like a way to make soda pretty much, but the syrup that they use has 50% less sugar than a normal
Uh-huh.
can. But
Yeah.
I didn't really use those as much like the soda ones. I mainly use the ones that make it pretty much like sparkling water. They just have like little drops of like flavoring now that I
Yeah.
use instead of a syrup.
hmm hmm Yeah. And that's a good idea because you're using your own water. I would also say you could even do something like I'm doing is just splash some real juice in it or squeeze, a lemon into it without even doing the flavoring. You could do, like someone said, cucumbers. I know that I've been to places in the past where they'll have a pitcher of water and just like some cucumbers floating in it, and you actually get the flavor from that. So there's different things we can do to try to increase our water intake. On the screen
Yeah.
now, I have. Go ahead. Does somebody have a comment?
Oh yeah, it was just for Odalis. Sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. In regard, I had to get over my addiction to sweet tea. I put a lot of sugar in that and stuff like that, and I learned it takes about 6 to 8 weeks to retrain your taste buds. Um,
Mhm.
so like you can start off by kind of reducing the amount of pop you're drinking, and then like seeing if you like the flavored sparkling waters and things like that, if you like the fizz. But eventually, if you allow yourself to eliminate it for a time, maybe 1 to 2 months, you'll notice that when you try to even drink it again, your taste buds will have changed. Because like now, grape juice and apple juice and things that I used to love, they're too sweet. It changed my taste buds. It was weird.
Yeah, yeah. I tell you, the last time I really had a Coke or Pepsi was about 4 years ago. I was so thirsty. I felt like totally dehydrated. And I was playing softball and there was no water. And the only thing that was in our dugout was a soda. And I drank it. I swear I felt sick for like 2 days from drinking it because we get used to what we're doing. If we're drinking it, our body's used to that, doesn't want to stop, right? But then if we're not drinking it and we do it, our body's not used to that. So we kind of, adapt. Was there another comment?
Well, I wanted to say thank you to everyone for commenting about that. I really appreciate it. And also, like that, I've been trying a little bit now. I've been like almost like maybe a week or two. And I did notice that now my pants, like, because my high waisted pants are fitting
Mhm.
better where like my stomach's not bloated. I think the
Oh,
soda maybe made me bloated all the time.
yeah, that's good news. That is good news. So maybe you could add something to the water that, just a regular bottled water or tap water or like the soda, carbonated soda stream thing
Yeah,
would be another.
I tried this Mexican carbonated water that's called Topo Chico, and it's really good. Like the fizz is good, and I add lime juice and like some like peppers, like tajin in there, and it tastes really good.
Where do you get that from?
Even like I think CVS has it. Any store, I think even Walmart has it too now. It's just called
Say the name of it
like in English you would kind of say like topo, so Topo, and then chico.
I'm gonna
It's
have
just
to look it up.
it's just carbonated water, literally.
That sounds good. Yeah. Well, thanks. I'm glad you guys all were able to share a lot of information. I wasn't able to talk about all of these beverages, but you can see every slide shows you what's in it. Did I have one here of, I don't think I had one here of energy drinks. Oh, there it is. Energy drinks, what's in it? There is a little discussion question on that. It's basically a lot of sugar, a lot of caffeine. They'll put B vitamins in it because B vitamins help you change your food into energy. So it's really kind of a farce that they put the B's in there. They're not going to help you that much. But I think the company, in their mind, think, well, if I put that there's vitamins in it, people will think it's healthier, but it's really not. So the energy drinks are water, really high sugar, really high caffeine, way more caffeine than a soda, and then an amino acid. These are things like that Red Bull, Monster, things like that. There are people, and I have a video in the learning module, there are people that would drink too much of this and actually have heart problems. I have a friend that's a nurse at the ER at Loyola, and she says every weekend people come in, they overdosed on an energy drink with like vodka in it. So alcohol plus the caffeine together, and the heart really gets confused. Go ahead. And someone had a comment on energy drinks?
Okay, Professor, so I don't want to like steer it too far, but this is kind of reminding me, and I'm sorry if I am because I know you're trying to get through the lecture, but the energy drinks, and because I've been trying to go to the gym as well, and I'm trying to lose weight overall, and I was looking into like weight loss pills because honestly I was so frustrated, like I'm like the gym is not like I want it done now, you know. So my boyfriend was telling me don't get the weight loss pills because it literally is just caffeine. And like I don't know what if you have an opinion on that or
I
something that
agree.
you could educate me on that.
I agree with him. I teach drug and alcohol education, and typically a diet pill is a stimulant drug, which the lowest level stimulant drug is caffeine. A more potent stimulant drug would be ephedrine, and usually that's what it is. And so when we have that stimulant drug in our body, it does speed up your metabolism, but it also speeds up your blood pressure, your heart rate, your respiration. It's not healthy for any organ. And the problem with the diet pills is when you're taking them, your metabolism will be fast. But as soon as you stop, your metabolism actually drops below baseline. So you're now slower metabolism than when you even started the pills. So that's why we don't want to get involved with that. It's a marketing project that people, the companies try to make you think that if you do that, it's going to help you lose weight. Stimulant drugs also dehydrate you. And if we're dehydrated, then our metabolism is too slow. So it's counteractive. I would not advise using those diet pills whatsoever. I also say don't do these energy drinks. It's way too much caffeine. If you want, and people say they're energy drinks like it gives them energy. It doesn't. What it's giving you is a stimulant drug that makes you feel alert. But taking too many of them, you're going to have like insomnia, not even be able to go to sleep when you're supposed to. Taking too many energy drinks or diet pills, you could overdose on it even, where you're like shaking so much that, it could even be a medical emergency. And I have a movie on that, unfortunately. Anybody who has a cardiovascular risk who should not have energy drinks whatsoever because it could cause, or like a diet pill could cause their blood pressure to go up so high that they actually have an emergency. Go ahead. Someone had another comment, and then I'm going to show you a quick video.
So with energy drinks, is zero sugar better than regular or no?
If they're putting in artificial sugar, I would say it's worse. If they're not putting in any sugar, I can't say that any energy drink is good. I'm sorry. I really can't. Because it's probably got some chemicals in it that, unless our body takes in a real nutrient, if it's taken in a chemical, it doesn't know what to do. And so that passes through your kidney and livers for detox. And it is a beverage, it is a food that would negate our health. Now, once in a while, one time per month, probably not a big deal. More than that, it's going to have a negative consequence on the health, even if it's no sugar. If you guys are choosing between regular sugar and artificial sugar, I would go with the regular, though, because at least it came from a natural product, even though it was manipulated probably into high fructose corn syrup. The artificial sugar is just flat out chemicals. Now, I want to show you, we're going to stop on that now because I want to show you this 3-minute video and then give you your homework assignment. So let's look at this video real quick.
Sugar, I want to make you happy. Like the sun you shine, you brighten up a gray day. Sugar, sugar, so good, so good. Sugar. Sugar, sugar, you really make me happy. I get to feeling high, I wanna shout it from the mountainside. Sugar, you're so good, so good. Sugar. Now is the time to live your life without fuss. Because, sugar, because now is the only time there ever was that you can make life sweet. You could, sugar, sugar. I wanna make you happy. I wanna give you the good love. I wanna give you a bear hug. Sugar, you're so good. Sugar. Sugar, 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 please be happy, cause you know I'm sweet on your smile, I believe in ya. Sprinkle the lips with your incredible kisses. You make me wanna more, take a swim with the fishes. Spoon for love, mix the medicine, go down, sugar, sugar. Live when, live wide, live right, live high, live now is the time to live your life without fuss. Because, sugar, because now is the only time there ever was that you can make life sweet. You could, sugar, sugar. Life is like a melody. It has its ups and its downs. Only you can save me. Sugar, you're so good. Sugar. Oh, the power's in your hands. You can have it. Oh, you can have it all. You can live a long, long time. The power's in your clothes.
Okay, guys, I have that video in the learning module. There's a lot of stuff in this learning module. I didn't get to everything. If you go to the videos, you will see I have more videos on energy drinks, on soda. I have a couple of articles on beverages from, the link between soda, cardiovascular disease, liver disease. And no, my notes are on here as well as the PowerPoint today. Now I'm going to show you real quick your learning assignment for next time. We are going to cover food plate and food group. Now I will email you this link, but know that you can find it in Learning Module 6, the My Plate Plan. You're going to click on that. And when you get to this page, I'll send it to you in an email. You're going to click Get Your My Plate Plan. You're going to enter some personal information. It's going to tell you how many servings of each of the 5 food groups you should get. This is a question on your final exam. It will say, what are the 5 food groups, and list some healthy options in each food group that you eat. So you're going to you're going to click on that My Plate Plan website. It's in the module, and I'll email it to you. You enter your information. You enter your height, your weight. I'm just randomly putting something, your physical activity. And then calculate food plan. It may give you a couple different options to maintain or to lose weight. Now, when you see this, if you could take a snapshot picture of it, or you could print it out. This is really what your homework, this is half of your homework assignment for Thursday. See how quick it took me? Not even a full minute. Print it out, write it down, whatever it may be. Here are your 5 food groups, which we'll go over. And here's how many servings for each food group you should get. 2 cups of fruit, 3.5 cups of veggies, 9 servings of grains. Don't get worried by that ounce thing. It's 1 slice of bread or so forth. 9 serving of grain, 6.5 ounces of protein, and then it says 3 dairy. If you need options, what's cool about this website is you can click on that, read more, and then they'll give you options of how you can get more fruit. What are some options for me if I'm having trouble in that food group and want more examples of what kind of fruit I could be eating? So half of your assignment is just to get to this page. What are your questions on this? Okay, so again, you can access it under My Plate Plan in the learning module, or I'll email it to you. And you're just going to come to class with this. The other half of your assignment for Thursday is to have accessible to you when we're in class a food label and a food ingredient list. My husband brought home, let's see, what is it called? Girl Scout cookies. So I have them with me right now. I said to him I was mad that he did that because now I will eat them. But my favorite, by the way, is these tag-along Girl Scout cookies. But what you'll do is I want you to bring the nutrition label and the ingredient list with that. And we'll learn how to read labels on Thursday. So what we'll do is I'll do a quick review of the food groups. And I'll ask people to share how many servings per each food group they have and options that you eat in that food group. So then you can have this in front of you and say to the class, well, class, I'm supposed to get 9 grains, and these are some of the foods I eat to meet my grains, okay? And then the second half of the class, I'm going to break you, I think, into groups, and you're going to talk about your food labels and your ingredient list. I'll do a short presentation on it first, break you into groups. And then you're going to come up with, from your group, what was, in your belief, the healthiest item, and then the not so healthiest item for each group that we have. And then you'll present that to class. And you'll say, you know, in the Girl Scout cookies, the serving size is 5 cookies. There's 160 calories. There's this much fat, this much protein, this much carbs, this much fiber, this much sodium. And then the ingredient list is enriched flour, some vitamins, and some sugar. This one says sugar and molasses in this one. So that's what we're going to do Thursday. Come with your food groups and also a food label and ingredient list. It could be a beverage if you'd like as well. Okay, let's see. Any questions on your homework?
Yeah, so this food plate, food labels, that's, even though it's module 6, you want us to do that for Thursday?
Yeah, because this week we're doing 2 modules. Let me double check the homepage. This week we are doing 2 modules. Learning module 5, which we did today, that was chapter 9, and learning module 6. And let me also tell you guys what chapter learning module 6 is. So we're doing 2 modules this week. So there'll be 2 discussions and 2 quizzes. The chapter for Thursday is chapter 2. So we're kind of going backwards a little. It is a really good chapter.
Okay, thank you.
Chapter 2 is really food groups and food label reading. It is a great chapter to review in your textbook. Even if you don't read it word for word, definitely look at the images and charts, and that'll give you a good idea. Okay, so if you have questions, stick around. If you came in late, it looks like a few of you, you have to raise your hand, and the rest of you guys could go. Have a great day, and stay safe in the weather. Odie, I have you. Angelica,
I have a question with the attendance.
Say it again. I don't know who was talking. Was it Talia?
Yeah, I was just saying I have a question, but when you have a chance.
I think we are good. I have Odie and Angelica. You two could leave. Go ahead, Talia.
The ESSA track. I wasn't able. Are we not able to get on there yet?
Is it saying not working?
Yeah. It would. I wasn't allowed to like make a account or a profile.
Ooh, what did it say when you went on there?
Let me go back on it. I should have screenshotted it. Hold on 1 second.
The reason I'm saying is you have to be on a specific browser to make it work. My students are telling me that they're using Firefox and it's letting them work good. Now, I'm able to access it sometimes I'm on Google right now. Some of the people were telling me they couldn't get through to it on Google and they were using Firefox and it worked. So try right now while you have me.
Okay. It says session not authorized.
Yeah, you know what? It's your browser. What browser are you using?
Google Chrome.
You are using Google Chrome. Can you try it with Firefox? You could download Firefox browser for free.
Okay.
So some people are telling me it's not working with Google Chrome for them. Last semester, it did not work for me on Google Chrome, but this semester it was no, see, it isn't. It's the browser. It's not working for me with Google. Try with that Firefox. Again, you could download that for free. Just type in Firefox browser and the page will pop up where you can download that. That's something that
I'll email you because my laptop is slow, so I will try it. I don't want to hold you up. Yeah, I'll email you. Hopefully that works.
Yeah, it should. It really should, because I had an online student tell me the same thing this semester. It's a new program that we just started using, and the company that made it is what's causing it to not work on the browser. It's only supported, I think, by that Firefox. So yeah, email me back and let me know. Okay?
Okay. Okay, thank you so much.
All right, have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Have a warm day.
Yeah, you too. Thank you. Bye-bye.